Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today I want to talk about something that's kind of major that's happening in California. For those of you that are unaware, Irwindale's closing down. Now this isn't the first time that we've received this notification. They've tried to do it about 2 times in the past, but it looks like this time it's actually going through. So in this video, I want to talk about, some of the interesting things about Irwindale, some of the unique historical things that it managed to accomplish, why it's probably getting shut down, and what it means for the car community as a whole. However, 2 things before we get started. 1, if you do want to see more automotive, particularly as you know, my GTR and Mike's S14 content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And 2, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have the JD Archer shop. If you go to jdarcher.bigcartel.com, you can see a limited selection of t-shirts I've designed that are for sale. But with that out of the way, let's talk about how another racetrack's biting the dust. A little bit about the history of the Irwindale Raceway. It hasn't been around really that long. It opened in March of 1999, so it's really only been open for about 25 years. So it's long to some people, not long to some others. When you think about another track that was under threat of being shut down this year, which is Willow Springs. I believe Willow Springs opened up in like the 60s or the 70s, so it's been around much longer. Fortunately, it looks like our little local celebrity Amelia Hartford is working to save Willow Springs, at least, because it's under threat of shutdown also. But it looks like no one's stepping up to save Irwindale. The owner has already posted that December 21st is going to be the final event. It looks like he has no intention of trying to stop it being demolished and basically turned into an industrial area. Now, this isn't the first time that Irwindale's been under threat. Back in 2017, the City Council of Irwindale decided that they wanted to try and demolish a racetrack to turn it into outlet malls. Yeah, makes sense. Raise commerce, make money. Of course, they're going to tear down something that we don't have a lot of in the idea of trying to make more money. At least it wasn't for condos. That seems like the biggest one. A lot of these tracks get knocked down because people buy houses near the racetrack, complain about the noise, get them shut down. Property values go up. They make money. We suffer. That's what they tried to do at Laguna Seca this year. So actually, there's 3 tracks that they tried to shut down this year. There again, in 2022, the Irwindale City Council decided to try and shut down Irwindale again, this time to turn it into commercial property. For those of you that haven't been to Irwindale, there's actually a lot of commercial property built around the track. There's a lot of warehouses and stuff like that. Nothing that has a lot of like customer traffic. It's literally just like warehouses and garages and stuff like that. But I guess they feel the land is more valuable to try and lease out for that purpose, so that's why it's being shut down this time. Now, as for Irwindale being historic, like I said, it's only been around for about 25 years, but in that time it actually has been part of some bigger events. The track itself consists of actually 3 tracks, which is kind of nice. So you have options when you go to Irwindale. There's a half-mile oval, there's a 1/3 mile oval, and there's an 1/8 mile drag strip. So if you want to test your car on a drag strip, you got the 1/8 mile track. If you want to do an oval track, NASCAR's actually done a few events there. There's that option. Also, it's a good way to kind of get your car up to speed in a little bit more of a controlled area. And then, of course, drifting. This is really what sets Irwindale apart. Irwindale should be recognized because it was the first track in the U.S. to hold a D1 event. Before 2013, all D1 events were held overseas. We didn't have them locally, so the only way U.S. people could see a D1 event is either to travel or see it on video or online. And then, of course, very fortunate, Irwindale somehow talked D1 into coming to the States. So the very first professional D1 event held in the States was held right here at Irwindale. And Irwindale still holds on to that legacy, holding multiple drift events throughout the year. Not only that, but it holds a lot of events as well. Fuel Fest was actually born at Irwindale Raceway, or as I like to call it, Fast and Furious Fest, because it's basically a Fast and Furious convention, but it's still a good show. It has a good car show. They have drifting there. They even have ride along for the drift events. They usually have some some big musical guests show up as well. This year when we went, Vin Diesel was there, Tyrese was there, Cody Walker was there. So it is a pretty big event. Now, of course, that's not the only event that Irwin hosts. Actually, there seems like there's an event there at least once or twice a month. I've been there for NISFest quite a few times. Once again, good car show, drifting, drag racing, dyno competitions, all that stuff going on. When I had my Mazda, my RX-7, the FD, I was there for Mazda Fest. I've also been there for import shootouts and a few other events. So it seems like Irwindale was this great venue because it was located close enough to LA. It's about a 30-40 minute drive where people were willing to go out there and go to these events. And by losing this, pretty much that locks us down to either going to Willow Springs, which from LA is about an hour and a half drive, sometimes a little bit less depending on traffic, or Fontana. Fontana's a ways out there. It's an oval track. It was recently repaved. I don't know if it's open quite yet. Or, I mean, that's really about it. We had Chuck Walla just open up in 2010, but it's not a wide known track yet. So losing Irwindale, there is a lot that goes on there. It's really unfortunate. And so, you know, we are losing a bit of history when it comes to the fact that NASCAR used it. Like I said, first D1. Actually, the one time I almost met Paul Walker was at Irwindale. I was a group of about 20 to 30 of us who all had Mark IV Supras when I had my first Mark IV Supra. And we rented out the track for a half a day and we were out there having fun. And of course, you know, our time ended. We're sitting there in the parking lot and we're hearing this car just tear up the track. We're like, what the heck is going on? So we kind of go back through the stands and we look through and there's a white R34 GTR. And we're like, what the heck? Someone's got an R34 GTR. What's going on? At which point in time, someone kind of poked their head up and went, oh, Paul Walker showed up today. So that was kind of a little fun historic thing for me. I almost met Paul Walker because of that, but he was in the car on the track. We couldn't get close to him. But like I said, it does have some historical significance, even though it's not really that old of a track. So what this means moving forward is it kind of creates a lot of issues for the automotive community here in Southern California. As we know, California hates anything automotive. They seem to think electric is the way of the future, even though we get blackouts in the summer and they ask us not to charge our electric vehicles because everyone's running their AC, but it's what they're doing. That's a completely different topic. But this is a very dangerous trend. This year alone, originally Laguna Seca was put under threat because, as I said, someone built houses around it on the cheap because nobody wants to live near a racetrack. They were trying to get it shut down. That way, if the racetrack gets shut down, the value of the houses go up and they make a huge profit. Fortunately, courts came to a settlement where that didn't happen. Laguna Seca was saved. Next, we had an issue with Willow Springs, one of my favorite tracks. That one was under threat only because the owners just kind of wanted out and they wanted to sell the track. The fear was that it was going to sell to somebody who wanted to put up houses. For those of you that haven't been to Willow Springs, there is nothing out there right now. So the value of the land is probably still very, very low. Fortunately, our little local celebrity, Amelia Hartford, stepped up. I believe she's trying to purchase Willow Springs, keep it operational. Willow Springs is a good track. You have a nice technical course at Streets of Willow. You have the big track of Willow Springs itself, Horse Thief Mile. And I think they have like 2 or 3 other tracks that I just haven't been on, so they don't stick into my head. So it's a good track. Fortunately, that one's being saved. Another track that's currently down is Fontana Speedway. Fontana is an oval track. It used to be a big one. I think it was like a mile or 2, and now they're shortening it to, I think, like a mile and a quarter or something under a mile. But it's still under construction, so we can't even use that track. Chuck Walla is another track around here, but most people don't know about it. It's pretty new. It opened up in 2010. I haven't been there yet. I'm actually trying to see what it would do to book that for the day. Just kind of check it out. It looks like it'll be a good track from the plans I saw online. And then, of course, you know, we have Adams. Adams is a go-kart track, but they open up for drifting. It's a nice, tight track. If you want to do drifting, you can actually go practice out at Adams. And that's pretty much it for the racetracks here in California. There used to be tons of them, but they keep getting shut down and we have nowhere to go. I don't know if California just thinks if they shut down all the racetrack, automotive is just going to go away. It's one of those unfortunate things. If you shut down these tracks, those of us who actually want to go to the track, I actually prefer track days because You have to be, some people are going to get mad about this, you actually do have to be a better driver to drive on a track than on the street. And so it really puts you to the test. You know, you have a timer and all that other stuff. So people who want to race and get that thrill, they're not going to have any other choice but to go to the street. And I think it's so funny because what happens is all these people on the news and all of these people in the legislature throw their hands up and go, I can't understand why we have such a street racing problem here in California. Maybe it's because you're closing down all the tracks and we have no other option. But that's just the way they are. And so once again, it's going to create bigger issues. If you think intersection takeovers are an issue, and they do give the community a bad name, what's going to happen when people are going to have to take back to the streets to do a drag race? Because let's face it, we're car people. This is part of our DNA. We can't really walk away from it because it's who we are. And for those of us that want to do it legally and do it safely, if you take those options away, what other choice do we have than to do it in places you don't want us to? So that's where we're sitting. As I said, California looks like they tried to shut down every major racetrack they had this year, and it seems like all of them were saved except for Irwindale. But when we're down to so few tracks, any one that gets shut down is a hit to the community. I mean, when you look back in the day, there was Lions. That was a racetrack that was out there for a while. Initially, Irwindale was built in response to the closure of a few other tracks. It was built in response to the closure of Riverside International Raceway, Ontario Motor Speedway, Saugus Speedway. So we keep shutting down tracks, and I don't know what California is going to do when they succeed in shutting down every racetrack. So what can we do as a community at this point? Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do. When it comes to things like Laguna Seca, paying attention to who you vote for as a judge will help, because obviously when people try to shut down racetracks, lawsuits happen. You want a judge that's going to be on the side of the company that was there first, in this case the racetrack. Basically say like, hey, look, you came to the nuisance, you built houses next to a racetrack, what did you expect? And throw out cases. That's one way we can help. Unfortunately, legislatures, not a lot of effect here unless they're passing laws to shut down racetracks or inhibit the building of racetracks. That's not going to really help. Really, the only thing that we can do to help these racetracks is to support them. When you see events, go. Make the track profitable. When you see open track days, go. I know everyone always talks about making sure their car is ready for the track. As long as it's not going to fall apart and blow up, your car is ready for the track. Just go. It's going to change your entire philosophy when it comes to how you work on cars and how you build your car. But that's a completely different subject. Maybe I'll talk about in a different video. But do support your local tracks. The more profitable they are, the harder it is for them to shut down, and the more likelihood that the owners will keep the tracks operational because they're making money. So support your local racetracks as best you can. Maybe put pressure on some of your local city council members. Basically, if you can figure out, how much of an issue is illegal street racing as intersection takeovers, maybe pressure can be put on some of these counties that aren't, close to LA to build these racetracks to get people off the street and do everything safely. To add to my frustration of another racetrack being shut down, my GoPro's glitching on me. For those of you who have been following the channel for a while, I've been dealing with this GoPro and it's just glitching and I haven't had a chance to get a different camera yet. But I'll take it as my sign that maybe it's time to wrap this video up. I hope you did enjoy, slight history of Irwindale. Like I said, it's not a very long history. Some of the effects it's going to have on the community. If you did, go hit that thumbs up button. Let me know. It does help the channel out a lot. As I did say at the beginning of the video, if you'd like to see more automotive, particularly GTR and S14 content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on all forms of social media, which include Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. There'll be links for those in the description down below. Now, after watching this video, if you have any questions, if you feel there's anything I missed, if there's more to the history of Irwindale than what I had here, or you just want to talk about tracks in general, go ahead and post in the comments section down below. I will respond to you. I thank you all for watching, and until next time, forget everything else, focus on the finish line.